Okay, let's start with the
Accra Times.
Okay.
Mahama Bagbin committed. Launch She Park Resource Hub. Congratulations to Baumia. Paula Foko. NPP has spoken. Tragic and painful loss of student. Never again should it happen. Unimac, Dean of Students, and Upper West Catholic Church Honest Speaker describes him as a selfless servant leader. That's from the Accra Times.
Now, the daily graphic for this morning, 60% businesses dodge VAT, GRA unveils compliance task force, it's here, and President orders probe into alleged scholarship corruption, 41 million SETAG book and research allowance arrears ready, Haruna Idrisu. Government to rename Kotoka International Airport is to honor host landlords. Majority leader discloses. The back page, only 136 out of 461 Metro Mass buses are operational, and the Hangar Project Ghana donates $165,000 medical supplies to 10 health centers.
The Daily Guide. Reshuffle hits police service. It comes with a picture of the IGP Christian Tete Yohunu. An anti-LGBTQ bill, NDC makes U-turn. According to the minority, Otumfuo goes on vacation abroad. SkyTrain witness accused of saving own skin. And government to rename Kotoka International Airport makes it to the front page of the Daily Guide.
The Business and Financial Times, diversify economy to build resilience. Axis Pension CIO. UPSA leadership pays courtesy call on Asantehene. Otumfuo said to the second, himself an old student. UPSA at 60 will be, gracing the celebrations. Don't renew aspiring mining leases, IEA tells government. And TCDA assures global buyers of cashew quality for 2026 season. ADB holds Maiden Inspire to Impact Conference to deepen leadership and performance culture.
The Custodian. NPP MPs pledge full support for Baumia. Minority leader demands helicopter crash and US visa ban probe. Majority leader outlines legislative agenda for second session. And NPP's major battle is to win back the trust of Ghanaians. Upon Kroma stating the obvious there. And the back page of the Custodian, Zenith Bank appoints Charles Boachini Makon as new board chair and license for non-interest banking to start soon, according to Governor Siama.
Great. The News Center, EcoBank SHC rollout affordable mortgage plan. MTN's $2 million coding investment to boost youth employment opportunities. Cocoa farmers threaten demo over unpaid cocoa board arrears. And forcing backs World Bank's FSRP rice strategy. Government borrows 44.25 billion through treasury bills in 2026, all on the front page of the News Center.
The Ghanaian publisher, Natoshi, calls for unity and congratulates Baumia on his victory. Minority leader demands action on national issues, and Ghana loses $117 million in oil revenue.
The New Finder says World Bank loans Ghana 22.6 million to boost food security. Ghana must be deliberately positioned as Africa's preferred tourism destination. And ECG goes fully cashless, cautions customers against payment fraud. Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport, government to rename.
The Daily Gist. Mahama threatens ministers with dismissal. The story is on page 3 of the Daily Gist. Baumia sweeps votes in 232 constituencies. NPP's 2028 task goes beyond unity. And Gift Yoare's lawyer runs to the Supreme Court over witness statements.
The Ghanaian Point, President Mahama calls for stronger inclusive global alliances at World Government Summit. I'm going to be very open-minded, even those who are insulting me, from former Vice President Baumia. Kotoka International Airport to be renamed Accra International Airport, majority leader. And where are the jobs? Minority slums government over youth unemployment. And Ghana Medical Trust Fund restores hope for midwife after successful brain surgery. And we can do the insight finally. Says farmers cry foul over unpaid compensations on Konongo bypass project. And 1 month after the attack on Venezuela, the resurgence of imperialist diplomacy intensifies. Ghana to rename Kotoka Airport as Accra International Airport in new bill. And 20,000 public sector workers to get salary backlog after verification, Controller Accountant General. Bola Taxi and Tricycle Association swears in new executives to boost waste management. And Ghana Medical Trust Fund restores hope for midwife after successful brain surgery. At myjournalline.com this morning, Mohammed's pen is ready. Ink is dripping to assent to LGBTQ bill. Majority Chief Whip Roxanne Nelson Dapiamekpo. President treats radio scholarship bribery claim as grave public concern. We didn't buy bulletproof cars for you to underperform. Dapiamekpo to OSP. And EC needs to be investigated. Dapiamekpo alleges Supreme Court was misled in Bandai case. And post-primary tensions, unfortunate political scientist urges Bawumia to unite NPP. I am fighting against injustice. That's Dapiamekpo on the Bandai case. Okay, if you go to citynewsroom.com this morning, the major story says Buffer Stock CEO 14 companies licensed to supply food commodities. Mohammed's pen dripping to assent to anti-LGBTQ bill. And lengthy port clearance times a drag on Ghana's trade. World Bank. Professor Opoku Agyeman, Ghana ready to manufacture, not just import. And Apenyu Marking opposes renaming of Kotoka International Airport. Mahama orders probe into alleged paid overseas scholarship. And Ayine says legal education bill to end Ghana School of Law monopoly. Choose love over bitter partisanship. Bagbing to MPs. And Mohammed's gold reserves policy is national self-sabotage. Apenyu Marking. Okay. Which means, yes.
Yes, gna.org.gh. Ashanti records alarming rise in road crashes and deaths in 2025. GBCGhanaOnline.com. I will not deliberately frustrate government business, says Afenyo Markin. And graphic.com.gh. FDA extends heavy metal tests for sachet and bottled water.
Great. So, I talked earlier about reading something in Ecclesiastes. Professor John Japong, former Vice Chancellor of University of Health and Allied Sciences, has actually sent that verse to me.
Great.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 2. The New International Version says, "It is better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of feasting, for death is the destiny of everyone. The living should take this to heart." The New Living Translation says, "Better to spend your time at funerals than at parties. After all, everyone dies, so the living should take this to heart."
Lessons for the living.
Yes, it's better to spend your time there. Okay, you understand? Anyway, let's get into the details of the newspaper stories.
Well,
now.
so government to rename Kotoka International Airport. Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga has disclosed that the government intends to rename Kotoka International Airport as Accra International Airport. A move, he says, is aimed at aligning national institutions with Ghana's democratic values. Mr. Ayariga made a disclosure during a meeting between the leadership of Parliament and the press corps yesterday ahead of the first meeting of the second session of the 9th Parliament.
Okay, later on the show, we'll get into the history behind the name Kotoka International Airport, and would look at all the campaigns for renaming of the Kotoka International Airport, and whether or not we should be renamed Accra International Airport. We'll get into that. We'll get your views also, but keep the views coming in. On WhatsApp 05511119997. Okay, there's been a long campaign to have this changed. I remember in 1997, around that time, Ghana had 40. Even in 2007, Ghana had 50. There was this whole conversation about the family of Kwame Nkrumah at the time outside the country, and some of the children had complained that, look, why do you come into should they come into Ghana when the very person who overthrew their father has his name?
Well, Winston, the bigger issue for me is when we are going to run a national airline? That should be the conversation. As far as I am concerned, when are we going to acquire a fleet of light aircraft to convey people who are involved in commerce and all these business activities that we are encouraging people to partake in across the country, so that in the aviation space we will also have some respite? For me, that is the bigger conversation to be had.
Great. But also on the front page of the Daily Graphic this morning, 60% businesses dodge VAT. We're told that Ghana is losing significant revenue due to low compliance with the value-added tax, as only 40 out of every 100 registered taxpayer companies currently honor the tax. The Commissioner General of GRA, Anthony Kwesi Sapong, who disclosed this in Accra yesterday, said the 60% shortfall significantly undermined domestic revenue mobilization and limited the state's ability to finance essential public services and national development programs such as schools, hospitals, and roads. And so, to address the challenge, the Domestic Tax Revenue Department of GRA set up a team, the National VAT Compliance and Enforcement Team, to improve compliance and boost revenue collection. The team is a key institutional mechanism for the effective implementation of the new VAT Act 1151, which took effect on January 1 this year. Mr. Sapon, who inaugurated the team yesterday, stated that VAT held the potential to contribute significantly to domestic revenue towards national development. And you go to places, if you go to the informal sector, some of the traders would complain. For instance, I've heard the former Guta president, Joseph Obeng, consistently complain that those of them who charge VAT are at a disadvantage because their clients get to pay more, and those who do not charge, their clients pay less. And so you go to this, somebody says, "Oh, I had your VAT to Ntibra." Yes,
to bait.
Yes, to bait.
Members of the public,
because with VAT you're paying 20% more.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, and that's where the challenge is. So I'm happy that this compliance has started. But look, I say this: let's pay our taxes. I know what the challenge is. We sometimes ask, what is there to show? But let's do it this way: pay, and then you can beat your chest and say, "Hey, you, what have you done with the money I gave you?" Okay, pay, just pay. Then you can say, where is the money I gave you? And not consistently ask, what have we done?
Well, they say it's like the chicken and egg situation. That's what people say. They want to see development before they pay their taxes.
But we need that money to bring the development.
Yes, that's
so you
true.
Pay.
That's true.
And the other truth is that, look, a lot of people giving the chance would avoid the payment of taxes. Some will evade. So it's always good to ensure compliance. I'm happy, GRA is doing this, and we need to support them to succeed.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, the minority leader has also served notice that it will demand investigations into various cases under the one-year administration of the National Democratic Congress. The minority leader gave the hint yesterday when he said that his side would make government accountable to the people at all times, and that was not going to be a mere slogan. And he was speaking in relation to the helicopter crash report.
Okay.
We are also dying to know the facts of that matter. We need better and further particulars.
But I thought the government had, they released the reports last year about what really, caused it, the issues of visibility and all. Was really the challenge. But page 13, CTAG, 41 million CTAG book research allowance arrears ready. So the government is processing the release of 41 million to pay book and research allowances owed to members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana for the 2023-2024 academic year. We are in the 2025-2026 academic year, and we're paying book and research
always
allowance
a backlog
of 2023-2024. So the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, disclosed this at the weekend, said the payment would be effected this week in order to restore normal academic work by Monday. Okay, that's it. But let's pay them. Okay, let's pay them. Let's pay them. And
even salaries are delayed. Salaries of some public sector workers, and we expect them to give of their best to the country. when we treat them like this?
Well, also in the Daily Graphic, President orders probe into alleged scholarship corruption, and President Mahama has directed the National Investigations Bureau to immediately commence a full-scale investigation into allegations of financial impropriety in the award of government-sponsored overseas scholarship. The directive, communicated by the Minister of Government Communications, Felix Kwachu, follows radio discussion on SUMPA, during which a panelist, a former chief executive of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, Kofi Ofosun Kansa, alleged that an individual made a payment to secure a scholarship for studies abroad. In formal communication dated February 3, 2026, and addressed the Director General of the NIB, the presidency described the allegation as serious and of public concern. So it's good we are investigating that. We should make public the investigations and also ensure, for me, why do we send people outside? Why do we send people abroad when they can actually study those programs in Ghana? If we have those programs in Ghana, there's no need sending anybody abroad. Okay? I just don't get it. And then every day they're complaining that we've not given them anything.
We need to set our priorities properly in this country. I think that is the challenge. You know, every now and then there is this challenge which comes up. Students studying abroad at the pleasure of the government of Ghana will throw in a story and you will have to run with it and plead with government to release funds. I do not understand why that is the case, but if you talk to a lot of watchers, they will tell you that these are mostly politically exposed persons who were told that whenever their party is in government, they are going to be given a token, and sometimes that's what happens.
Yeah. Well, this one also, the back page of the Daily Graphic that says, I beg your pardon, only 136 of the 461 Metro buses are operational. So the management of Metro Mass Transit has revealed that it inherited 136 operational buses, over 70% fewer than the 461 buses contained in the official records as bequeathed by the previous management. It said the current management assumed office. Official records indicated that Metro Mass had a total fleet of 461 buses. But in an interview with the Daily Graphic, the managing director, Caesar Kale, said the figure, however, remained in dispute due to inconsistencies in record and the inclusion of buses that had already been scrapped. He said 227 buses were completely unserviceable and had since been marked for scrap and auctioned to generate revenue to support operations and to reinvest into the business. He said management was initially informed that 136 buses were operational, but operational realities on the ground showed that only 105 and 120 buses could be routed daily. Okay, 136 buses. Anyway,